Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. For those who don't know, my name is Danielle.
My name's Brianna.
And my name is Bobby.
And one of the things that we love to do here on our podcast is talk about Black movies and television shows that are in Black culture that we should have seen by now, but listen, we haven't. And, that's on us, but here we are. At the end, we discuss our thoughts and our feelings on the movie or the show as millennials, and we rate it on a scale from 1 to 5 hot combs. And today, we are reviewing a Spike Lee joint, Do the Right Thing, which was written, directed, and produced by Spike Lee. It's starring Spike Lee, Ruby Dee, Giancarlo Esposito, and Bobby,
Yes.
Ozzie Davis, Bill Nunn, Danny Aiello, John Turturro, Rosie Perez in her debut role, and many, many more. So Do the Right Thing had a release date of June 30th, 1989. It is rated R for a reason, and it has a runtime of 2 hours. So a quick little synopsis. Do the Right Thing follows a heat wave going on in the Bed-Stuy neighborhood of Brooklyn. It follows Mookie, who is played by Spike Lee, and he works for a family-run Italian pizzeria. And as the day goes on, racial tensions rise between the neighbors and the police, and it comes to a head and tragedy strikes. So what are our initial thoughts on Do the Right Thing? What was like the first thing that came to mind when you started watching the beginning of the movie?
Spike Lee has an aesthetic, and he sticks to it. This movie, and remember, we're speaking as Zillennials, okay, heavy on the Z.
Yeah.
This movie definitely tests your attention span. The credits were about 5 to 10 minutes long in the beginning, and I was like, this is giving the decade. But overall, I liked it. I realized I've seen a lot more of it than I realized, and I've seen a lot more like videos and pieces of it. But yeah, like I said, this movie really tests your attention span because it is a kind of long.
Yeah, so I really liked it. I actually have seen it before. I watched it once, but I didn't really remember that much of it. Spike Lee, yes, definitely has an aesthetic, and I think it's so nice when even if you haven't seen the movie or whatever, like you've seen a clip of it, like you know exactly who made that. That's impressive as hell. And I feel like every artist, a lot of artists strive to have something similar like that. I have also seen the Spike Lee exhibit at the Academy Museum. I'm not sure how many of the viewers have been there or seen it, but the Spike Lee gallery was very nice and moving, and there was lots of really they had like the Sal's like pizzeria outfit in there, and it's fun to watch the movie and like see the callbacks. But loved it. I thought that it was great. I mean, I was into it. They was pissing me off. Everybody made me mad, actually. Every single character. But I think that that's like the key of a well-told story. You get emotionally involved, and my eyes were kind of glued to the screen, not gonna lie.
I feel like after a while my eyes were glued to the screen. Like you were saying, Brie, that intro, it was cute for the first like minute and a half, and then when it just kept going, I was like, I think I wrote down, can we wrap it up? Yeah, but you know what I did see in the intro? I saw costumes by Ruth Carter. And
okay.
Miss
Ruth.
Love.
You don't do it every time.
Every single time. Every single time. And I agree. I think the aesthetic was definitely there. I really loved like the coloring of this movie. It was definitely giving summertime. It was, if you thought you were watching a different movie, that's on you, because it gave summertime vibes for me just based on that alone. I loved in the beginning how they had Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Yes, I wrote that down.
It gave Black.
Yeah.
It gave Black from the jump. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They know their target audience, okay?
Jump. Yes.
With a good horn.
it was nasty work. It was nasty work.
I was like, if it's one thing Spike gonna do, it's gonna bring Black culture. And I was like, you better play that. Okay.
Yes, it's very Black. And
Mhm.
it kind of made me wish that I had been around New York City during this time. Because watching all the kids run past and the scene with the fire hydrant, that was cute. I was like, this is peak summer. This is peak 90s.
Mhm.
I want that.
I have very like few memories of that, but from my memory of like the 2000s of Chicago, it was like kind of the same. That orange hue, which is exactly how I remember it, hot.
Mhm.
I've dibbled and dabbled in a couple of fire hydrants as a child.
Okay.
Good for
So you
you.
living.
I've lived the life. I don't know. I'm assuming Chicago was doing the same thing as New York at that time, and most like Black inner city places were. But yeah, it was hot. It was giving summertime. It was the music. I think I did look away for a second, but I think I looked back at a little girl getting a snow cone or something like that,
Yeah.
Snow cones.
and like scraping it. I was like, we got a tent right down the street. Like, I was like, it's giving Black summer, and that I appreciate it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
It definitely, as someone who does live in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
as I look outside right now in the 80-degree weather, it's giving do the right thing. Like it's giving that. Like he really set it up correctly.
Imagine if you were watching this when New York looked like a tomato a couple of weeks ago. It would have been
I forgot about
peak
that.
cinematography. You could have
Would have
remade
been
the
great.
movie
We could have
at
recreated
that
it.
movement. Like you literally
At
could have
that
remade the
point.
movie with nice, good shining light.
Mm-hmm.
You really hadn't had to do too much to it.
Yeah, you wouldn't need the filters or nothing. Like it would
Nothing.
just walk
That's
outside.
it. Right there.
Fine.
Yeah.
Air quality what? Anyways, so let's talk about our highlights. Actually, wait. Let's talk about our lowlights first. Let's talk about lowlights.
Great. I didn't have a lot of lowlights.
Mhm.
My main lowlight is that the middle of the movie was just kind of a lot of like not enough going on for me.
Mhm.
I feel like it kind of fell into that. I forget what you call it, but there's a thing that like writers kind of fall into sometimes where they don't have too much to put in the second act and it's really bomb in the first act and really bomb in the second act. I feel like it kind of suffered from that a little bit, but I mean, I get it though. It got you there, but at the moment, I think like the seriousness of the beginning of the end didn't really match the middle. I also I was aware it's the same day, but I low-key like halfway through thought we were on a different day. I was just very confused about how much was happening in a day. I think time goes really, really fast. And I think because it was just following him that whole time pretty much, or following him and other characters, it didn't really establish that certain things are happening at the same time, if that makes sense. Like when the mayor saved the little boy and when he started hooking up with Tina, that probably was around the same time, but because of how it was like edited, it kind of seemed like sequence of events versus this is all like different things happening. Like Friday did that real good where you could see different things were happening during the time, but it wasn't there. And then it's not a low light on the movie, but it's a low light on America.
Let's get into it.
Tired of police officers putting excessive force, unnecessary, on human beings and being surprised that they're dead. Very tired of that. He literally had his baton at this man's neck. And I don't know if you ever, well, I don't see why y'all would, but I worked in props. I don't know if you ever felt like a real baton. Them batons was wooden and they was heavy. They holding that up to somebody. He looked like old dude stole money from him. Like he was that mad. And then when he fell on the ground, he was kicking him like, get up, get up. Like it immediately took me to our modern day Rodney King situation, which ended in death of George Floyd. Is like, how do you think standing on somebody's neck is not gonna kill them? Like it really bothers me you know, because you're not that stupid. Y'all have proved time and time again you can coordinate a racial system and make it work without you having to do anything after 100 years, and it's still working. Y'all not that stupid. So don't come to us with this whole, oh, I didn't know he would die. Like, what do you mean?
And what did you expect?
Most people, if they can't breathe, they go into fight or flight. And if their fight moves, that means they moving around. Holding a baton to somebody's neck until they stop moving does not mean that they just passed out. They're probably dead. And then he was like, we got to get the body. We got to get the body.
Like,
what are you
that was
talking?
crazy.
Like, I really like the ending of this movie. And I think the whole ending of this movie was just a sequence of things ready to happen at some point. But I was like, what is this? Like, this is never made sense to me in movies, America at all. But it really made me mad. I know that was like the point of it, but that is just like, excuse me, an in general low light I have like in life is people doing very obvious things and being surprised by the outcome. I'm really tired of people putting excessive force on other human beings unnecessarily for prolonged amount of time and then being surprised that they're dead. You killed that nigga. Straight up. Yep. And I know Spike Lee was trying to make Al like a little savior at some point. He was trying, and then it just kind of retorted back. But I wouldn't say you're not completely at fault, sir. I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I think the ending, I loved the ending. I mean, like the last like 20 minutes, because it was very fast paced, go, go, go. And it, to me, it makes like the slowness of the first half of the movie worth it just for that. Like, it's a nice slow burn, because honestly, like, and in like real life, yeah, like people riot, but it's always slow, like slowly, you know, it's event after event after event, and then it pops, everything boils over. So I like how the movie kind of replicated that in a sense as well. But as far as lowlights, honestly, didn't have many except for like petty things about the characters that I didn't like. Like Radio Raheem, yeah, he died, but he was kind of an asshole. Like, as fuck.
That whole like I understand why things happen in the end scene, but like, you can't
an
really
asshole
yourself, right? Like, they kind of instigated the fuck out of that. Like,
yeah,
not saying things deserve to happen.
No,
but
right.
Saying like you can't be doing stuff and expect people to not do stuff back to you because you Black.
But here's my problem, right? Because what was Giancarlo's character's name? I can't remember his.
Bugging out.
He
was an asshole too.
Annoyed. He went up to this man and said, "We're going to protest. We're not going to give them our dollar." So why did you go inside? Okay, like, you can say we're going to protest, we're going to whatever, but then just say that and leave and try and get your followers. Like, I don't understand why it was like such an escalation. Like, no, he did not need to break your boombox. That was not necessary. And I get it, but also this to me, bugging out really pushed this whole thing like further than it needed to go. Like,
yes. And another thing, this is probably real small, real petty, but he's probably been there before. So you already knew what the interior looks like. This is the neighborhood shop. Your best friend works there. Why is it a big deal all of a sudden with the pictures?
Yeah. It made me wonder, like, is the message of do the right thing from the beginning, and then other things won't happen? Because although I understand the meaning of it, for all of this had to have happened and popped off because of pictures. Now, I don't know. It's very hard to say, because although I do understand, and, you know, there's a lot of things happening right now in the Supreme Court when it comes to people being able to choose who they serve, quote unquote. You could also just like not go in there. Like, Al was like, let them in, you know, he'd have moments where he'd be like, the Black community, you know, we did, and then he call them niggers. And I feel like you can't go back and forth
Yep.
and do
Oh
that.
yes. Wait,
And
Al, you mean Sal?
can't-
Sal.
Sal, I'm
I-
sorry, yeah.
At first, Danielle
Sal.
said Al, and I was like, wait, did I
Did
miss
I say
something?
Al?
Yeah, you
No,
did.
I
And then
think
Bree
I
said
said Al. I think I said Al, but I was close enough. I feel
Okay,
like you
anyway.
can go back and do, but I also feel like if an establishment don't want to do something, I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on that because I feel like that actually happens pretty often of people protesting things about establishments because they
Mhm.
want to do something. And I'm just gonna say for this situation, y'all was all prejudiced towards each other. So I don't see
Literally.
why everybody, the corner, when they did that like back and forth of all the races talking about each other, like all of y'all
Yeah.
was prejudiced. I'm not understanding why your prejudiceness go like at the bottom and he gotta put
Mhm.
pictures.
Right.
Mhm.
I like the
there.
style of that though.
I was gonna say I did love that scene though. That was a good.
I was like, ooh.
Of the fight, of the
No, the four different
yes. I was
It was
like
good.
cinema.
Mhm.
Yeah, cinema.
Cinema.
Yeah, like it makes sense. I get why this is iconic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But-
Very iconic movie.
Something that I didn't like. I'm not gonna call it a relationship because but Sal and Jay.
Oh, wait,
I-
you mean his sister?
Yes,
I'm gonna
Okay.
let you finish.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna get on my soapbox.
because you have a back and forth respect, no respect for Black people in general, and then she comes in and you're like, oh Jade, I got a special piece of pizza for you. I got the do like. So you're just fetishizing the Black woman because what do you want from her? Like, what do you want to do?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I understand, but I don't understand why. And it just that whole thing made me uncomfortable. And when he was like, "Stay away from my sister," he's like, "Whatever you're thinking, it's not right." Like, is it? Because to me, it looked like you wanted some of her. That's all. I hated that. I hated that. Go ahead, Brie.
I wholeheartedly agree. I've done some research and
Mhm.
apparently I know that in real life, Spike Lee is older than his sister, who is his sister in the movie,
Yeah.
by like a couple of years. I'm gonna hope they don't have the same age gap here because according to Wikipedia, Mookie is 25, which would have made his sister in the movie quote on 20, which is barely legal, which
Ooh.
I really
Ooh.
can't.
Scary.
You know how I feel about them playing around with these age things.
Mhm.
Don't
And Predator.
like it. But even though she probably is legal in the movie, still don't like it. Still
No.
don't like it at all.
Yeah, she's
I
probably legal
don't.
because she was paying the rent for both of them.
Yeah,
Right.
still don't
But
like
still,
it. Still, and stand up. This
Like,
man call y'all the N-word like every other day. Please. First of all, this man is a sugar daddy with no sugar to give. So why are you even entertaining him?
yeah, like he owns a pizza shop, girl. Like you live in New York, find you Wall Street's right there. You know,
Wall Street is right there.
Wall Street is right there.
okay? Like,
and you know, Wolf of Wall Street, that was going around the same time as this, historically. So right over there, girl. They was scamming and it was making money.
I was just like, why? Like, what is the, and she's like, oh, hi, Sal. Like, girl, your brother doesn't even really like him like that. Why are you so like sweet on him?
He called y'all niggas.
Like,
Yeah, which let's get into that. Let's get into that because obviously white people saying the N-word is repulsive. And somehow it's almost worse watching white actors say it in movies. I don't know why. For me,
Yes.
it like,
Yes.
because like, I mean, granted, like the actor themselves, probably doesn't say it in their normal life, which great, but it's just disgusting. No, like, because you said that a little too easy. A
No,
little too
really.
easy. Like, where's the hesitation? Maybe that's why Danny Aiello was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars that year, but it made me uncomfortable. And his son, somebody beat his ass. I feel like Mookie should have done it. His son is a piece of shit.
Yes.
His little brother should have popped him.
I just want to say, the son was ain't shit. If you want to see him as something that's not ain't shit, watch Severance on Apple TV because he's an older man.
Go.
Because he's not, but in this, he given a racist Italian man. In that, he not a racist Italian man. And I feel like sometimes watching these older movies, I need to know who you are in a different role so that I can understand that you're not like this all the time.
Yes.
Okay. Because, like, example, I think his name is Will Porter, something
the actor?
like that. He's a British actor.
Okay.
He's been very
Will
much
Poulter.
compared. He's been very much compared to is it Skid or whatever his name is from Toy
Sid.
Story? Okay, the one
It's
that
the
looks like
eyebrows.
that, right? I think the first thing I saw him in was Detroit, and I was like, "You
Really
are too good at this." Him being British made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
But don't watch Detroit. I mean, watch it. It's like good, but like prepare to be traumatized. So I'm gonna spoil this little part. In the very beginning, they introduce his character and he shoots Tyler James Williams' character in the back with a shotgun for like stealing out of a convenience store, but he doesn't catch him. And when his captain is like, "Why did you shoot him?" He was like, "How else was I gonna stop him from running away?" I was like, you as a white person, how do you feel saying that line? You're embodying this too well. And John Turturro was embodying that role too well. He was too much. I kind of was like, again, I don't agree with Sal, but I kind of agree with him when he was like, you could just leave. Like,
you could always just leave. The thing about the
It's an
pictures,
option.
it's like he's Italian American and he's proud of that, which is fine. Like, I feel like you should have your cultural icons around you. And who am I? Who am I to come into your space and say, take that shit down, put my shit up? Like, I don't know.
I get it to a point, but it's also like you come into I think the whole thing is that you come into these neighborhoods that are historically Black. And I think at one point they were saying like you took up space and it was like the three old dudes on the corner. And they were like, I could build a shop, I could blah, 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 and have my business and yada, yada. And when it comes to like gentrification, especially in New York, it's definitely like, you see shops or you see things that are not in the right spot, should not be there. And so when this came around, it feels like, well, if you're going to be in our neighborhood, why not put up some people that look like us, like actors or whoever? And the brother, Pino.
sure.
Whatever.
I kept getting them mixed up. The racist one and the one that needs to stand up for himself.
The racist one.
Yeah.
When he asked him, he was like, who's your favorite actor? Who's your favorite basketball player? And all he was saying was Black people. And it's like, okay. And he's like, but they're different. They're not really Black.
They different niggas.
Like
is basically what he was saying.
Really?
Like, fuck you.
They appeal to me, so they different niggas.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I am sure so many people have that mindset. Like they're like, no, they're in a different breed. Like that's not the same thing.
They're not like y'all.
Right. They're not like y'all. They're not common folk, you know? So, you know, I understand it. And I think that they should have just, you know, they could have left it alone, but I see their point as to why they were upset. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think it's tough because like, I guess like Sal's shop had been there at least for a while. Cause the one girl, she was like, no, I grew up on Sal's.
25 years.
Okay. And then, but times are changing, you know, and maybe it's time to start adapting to what the community wants, even though it's just this one person being very loud. But I mean, honestly, like if Bugging Out's movement did gain some traction and people are for real, like, okay, you got to do something about this. Like, all of your customers are Black and you're not respecting your Black customers. Sure, maybe you could put a picture of Malcolm X or something like that. But I think like the Korean shop across the street, I guess that's like more of a different kind of conversation, considering that shop had been there for way less time. I guess it was like a boarded up, abandoned building. And now they got their shop there, which is tough because like everyone's just trying to make a living. And if they immigrated here, they picked the best possible place for them where they could afford and they knew they would get customers and whatnot. But also like you are moving into someone else's space. And I think you should be considerate of the neighborhood and the people that are there. Even though they were all fucking racist as hell to them. And that pissed me off.
That's what I'm saying. Like everybody was prejudiced to everybody and everyone was calling each other names, all these slurs. And it was kind of like, it wasn't really until, well, I tell you this, they had a common enemy at the end, but it wasn't really until then. And I feel like that's a very big reflection of like society. Like there's a video that went viral of these two Black men fighting in the kitchen, and then a white man tried to break it up by putting one of them in a headlock, and the one that was like trying to fight started fighting the man who put him in the headlock, and the other dude tried to start fighting the man because it was like, we shouldn't be fighting, but you don't get into it. It's very much this Black people business. We could talk about it, you don't talk about it type thing. So
you mind your business.
You get out. It's not about you. I definitely agree with you, Bobby. I feel like it falls in that weird space, right? Because he's been there for 25 years. He's openly, what I guess you could, I don't know systematically how he benefits other than money, but you can say that he is on the racist side. But at the same time, you have people in the neighborhood who's like, well, he didn't do nothing to me, and still going. And it's kind of like that situation of like, if you're the only, and your best friend works there, right? On top of that, he's clearly, I guess, holding his own for whatever that means. It kind of has to come down to like, how important is this cause for you to keep going with nobody else supporting you? Because he has been there for 25 years. And like she said, she grew up on it. So it's kind of hard to like, I'm assuming Al has been that way, which I just thought about the fact that he'd been there for 25 years and probably watched Spike Lee's sister grow up.
Oh no, it just got worse. It got worse.
Got a little bit of an ick. Okay, we're gonna try to get rid of that. So he's been in the neighborhood and he unfortunately, he unfortunately has skin in the game, as you would say, in terms of the property there. Clearly, though, people had to have been getting tired of it because of what happened at the end, which I'm sure we'll get to. But I don't know. It's a very like he like in the end he let them in, and then two people that wasn't a part of the group came in and started like an argument and screaming, and it's like, you just gonna have to not go to the pizza place. Like, you can't force them to put. Now I do agree with Bugging Out. If they all banded together and put their money together, Al would be out of there. But I think once it was clear nobody wanted to do that, he needed to find a different plan. And he was just like, I'm gonna be aggressive. And like, you can't be aggressive, but people are usually gonna be aggressive back with you when you be aggressive. So you just have to be aware of all of the things that may happen out of that. I personally thought he was gonna beat him with the bat. So the fact that he beat the boombox, I was like, okay. Okay. And then they pulled him across the counter and all that happened. I don't really know when the police was called. That's about the quickest I've ever seen the police come. So
they heard wind. Disturbance in Bed-Stuy.
It was like they were just in the neighborhood and was like, niggas is acting up. Let me.
Well, I'll say this, because if their neighborhood, I don't go to Bed-Stuy often, but if their neighborhood was like how mine is, the police are on the corner. So if they get a call, they're right there. So especially in the Black neighborhoods, I'll say that, because they are quick and they are there and they be moving. So I'm assuming that's what it was, but someone said that the racist brother's name,
Racist one. Mhm.
whoever he is, that he called the cops. Someone said that. I don't remember who said that.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah. So,
The racist one?
mhm.
I feel like that's a punk move, though. I feel like
It
that's
is a punk
Isn't
move.
it?
I feel
Like
like
his bitch ass.
once he realized he was gonna get jumped because he couldn't save his father, that's when he called the police. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I feel like you talking all that talk and you putting people in headlocks and threatening people.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to go get like a spatula or piece of pan out the kitchen and start swinging. It just
Mhm.
kind of lets you know how people use the police, how people like to use the police.
Mhm.
Because not to say that wasn't an appropriate time to call the police, but we're also talking about the late 80s, basically 90s, and you know what's going to happen when you call the police on a group of Black people.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I don't really know if you can't claim, because yes, he did come into your restaurant, but
Mhm.
it's all about talk shit, get hit. Okay, they came in yelling.
Yeah.
The reaction to that was you beating the radio. The reaction to that was old dude dragging you out. Then you started to lose. Then you called the police because you started to lose. Now old dude dead. Now you don't have a store.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sounds
Yeah.
I feel like it's
pretty.
also it's his fault because he knew like that Sal knew that his son was like aggressive and violent and always wanted to, he first of all, he was going after Smiley, who was the disabled character. Yeah, mentally disabled
yeah.
character in the film. He was just trying to sell his was it drawings or was it like
I don't know.
I don't know what he was trying to. I feel not comfortable commenting on his character because of the time period that it was made. I'm not really sure what he was trying to do, possibly like pointing out Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But the brother did not need to. He don't need to go that hard on nobody,
No.
and then, but see, we should have known he was a punk, because when he was out there, the people across the street was like, leave him alone, come over here if you want some issues. And he was like, no, I'm not coming over here. See, that's the thing. If you're gonna
Right.
move into our neighborhoods, you need to operate how we operate.
Okay.
Exactly.
Don't move into our neighborhoods talking shit, and then when we pull up, you want to call the police.
Right.
Yep.
Because he said, I don't need to be over there. Like, you do
bitch
if you have a
move.
problem. Like, I
Bitch
don't.
move. Because why is you touching him? Like, you know
Exactly.
something's wrong with him. You know he's not quote unquote regular or normal. He's
Mhm.
not causing no harm. Why is you messing with this man? Because you
Right.
mad because you in a Black neighborhood? Then leave.
Exactly. Like, you a grown man. You can go work somewhere else if that's your thing. But like
For
his
real.
dad knew that he was this aggressive person towards his main customer base. And he didn't say, he had that little sit down talk with him, but that didn't like, what is that gonna do? Like the minute that talk ended, he went outside and started that stuff. So
Exactly.
what are you doing?
Granted, Sal wasn't running around saying the N-word left and right like all throughout the movie, but he definitely watched his son do it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's basically coming out of your mouth as well, sir, and you are liable. I'm not gonna say like Radio Raheem dying is like 100% his fault because he didn't kill him. But I will say, I think that if Radio Raheem did, like if the police never was called and if Radio Raheem did kill Sal, I think that he would have died anyway, because eventually someone will call an ambulance, a police officer. They'll be like, oh, this man killed this white man. I guess you also have to die. So regardless, I think that his fate would have been the same, unfortunately. But like, you can't just be going around like hitting people shit. And I honestly don't even know like how to even diffuse that situation, honestly. Because if someone came in my restaurant, they're blasting music and I'm already closed and they're trying to be in my face, I don't know. I don't know how to.
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't hit their boombox with a bat.
Yeah, I wouldn't break it.
Well,
I would try to touch it though. I'm not
he
gonna
picked
lie.
up that bat multiple times, so something was gonna get hit eventually with that bat. I think if we're talking about sane people, it's a different conversation. But it's clear that the whole family, except for the youngest son, was angry, and that's the only way they knew how to solve things. Maybe I missed it. Why was Radio Raheem there?
Because Bugging Out was on his way to protest or tell Sal that he's gonna
Okay.
protest, and Raheem was like, "Oh yeah, that bitch. He wasn't letting me play my music earlier. Now I'm mad."
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about Radio Raheem? No,
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
he
yes,
was a bully, and I'm
yes.
not really
A
sure.
big bully.
It's just it's so mean. It like Bobby said, it's so hard to justify so many things that the characters do because they're so flawed. It's like, how you gonna come? Much like how I know I'm not in New York, so I don't know about the territories. Us in Chicago, we're very segregated racially, so we don't have to deal with this. But how you gonna go to somebody else's stoop and start battling with their
Right.
radio? Like
Right.
they in their own little thing, and I'm gonna turn it up. Like, who are you?
Right.
That pissed me
Who are
off.
you?
I was like, let them listen to their music. They wanted to listen to their salsa. Like,
Yes,
Like, I
and
feel
then
like he was instigating a lot of stuff for no reason.
he was.
yes, and then in the convenience store, he's trying to buy batteries, and he was like, "It's not Marcha, it's March. Learn how to speak English. Learn how to speak English."
Oh, that
Like,
scene
Oh,
pissed me off when
shut
he
the
made
hell
them count
up!
them batteries all over again because I
Ugh,
forgot how many fucking batteries a boombox took, and I was like, "Oh
pissed
my
me off.
god!" Like, I don't know. It's so hard because I feel like depending on where you fall politically and socially, you can view this movie in two different ways, and you
Mhm,
can feel like Al got what he deserved and Raheem got what he deserved, and it's just
mhm.
I fucks with that, Spike Lee. You made a very dynamic movie.
He
It's
did.
very like the amount of conversations we can have.
Right?
It's impressive, very impressive.
Mhm.
Oh, I was gonna say that I should have written it down. I just lost my train of thought.
You well, okay, let me know if
Fuck,
it
I
comes
don't know.
back.
I'll let you know if I yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's change over to our highlights. What did we really love about this movie?
I'm gonna let you go first, Bobby. I think you have more like solid highlights than I did.
I actually didn't take many notes this time.
I didn't either. That's why I was like, you go first.
I did take one though. This is really specific and it's kind of cute. I liked how okay, so Demare and mother sister
Mhm.
mother Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. I like how in real life they're actually married.
Yes, we love
I
that.
thought that was adorable.
Mhm.
Adorable. I love a budding romance on screen and knowing that, off screen it. So that was a highlight. And then so because I have seen this my second watch, I noticed some of the foreshadowing at the very beginning of the movie when Sal's sons are fighting. He is like, he balls up his fist and he says, "I'm gonna kill someone today." And I caught that. I wrote that shit down. I said, "Damn,
Who said that?
Sal."
Oh,
At the very beginning, like the first like 5 minutes of meeting them, I said, "Ooh, that was pretty good."
well, he did.
And he did, and he did.
did.
That is really good writing. That's clever writing. Spike Lee was also nominated that year for Best Original Screenplay, so as he should be.
Good.
Really good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then I have a petty thing. It's not like woo woo, but I do think for the record, we all deserve a shower in the middle of the day. Like Mookie decided to take. I feel like it's a human right. And I feel like we should bring that back. Siesta, if you will,
Mhm.
a siesta. Yeah, I'm sure I have other ones. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson.
He was one of my highlights too.
Yes.
Top 5 favorite characters, period, I think, for me. He just kept the energy up. Loved it.
He did.
He was kind of like a narrator in a sense.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
thought it was super duper clever that they made him like a radio host, which was very popular during that time.
Mhm.
Really like that.
Yes. Also, this goes back to Ruth Carter because a baddie.
Mhm.
I really appreciate how in most of the scenes with like Martin Lawrence, we didn't even talk about him. The scenes with Martin Lawrence and the gang, I guess, the kids that don't got no job, obviously,
Mhm.
they were wearing like very bright blue colors against the red background of the wall, that really popped in. Was I thought that was great costume design mixed with the set design. Loved it. The attention to detail was very obvious, and those are things that make a movie memorable for me anyway. It's the visuals for the most part. Yeah. Those are my highlights.
Period.
My highlights. So I really like the screenwriting of this. I really like what Spike Lee does in his movies, where he kind of breaks you out of the like the rhythm of the movie, like when everyone was yelling at each other. Really like I like that type of cinematography. Like I really like that type of storytelling. I think it kind of keeps you engaged. Really, I mean, what is her name? I lost me. She's not listed here. Rosie Perez. There you go. You know, she was J-Lo before J-Lo was J-Lo. Rosie did her thing. I really loved it. I thought that their little Ice Cube scene was super cute. I feel like
Yeah,
I must have started the trend that's the baby that be happening with that. So I thought that was cute. I don't know. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the real conversations that happened, like the juxtaposition between the two generations when they were talking to the mayor versus, I don't know who he was, the leader of the group of kids, I guess, when they were going back and forth, and the mayor was like, you don't know what I've been through, and he was like, I don't care what you've been through, don't talk about my parents. I was like, it's very much giving young versus elders. It's very much giving, like, you know, you all know that, well, I don't know if you all, but we all know that one person, at least in Chicago, we can point out, like the man, you know, that be selling stuff on Lafayette, or the man that be preaching on the corners of downtown. Like there's always that one specific figure in the cities that has a story, and people kind of just write him off and be like, oh, you were drunk, you this, you that. But you know, he's still people. And it's not even like he was doing bad things. You know, he saved a kid, he was getting her flowers. Like, yeah, he was intoxicated. I think we all grew up watching that intoxicated person, but I think Spike Lee really like achieved realistic characters. And I think I really appreciate that. I don't like them all. I don't know if I was supposed to like them all. To be honest, Juan Carlo was getting on my nerves. Did not like him the
that
whole
bitch.
movie.
I did feel for him when he got his shoe stepped on though, because that pissed me off. I went, oh hell
I felt for
no.
him, but like at that point, I was like, Karma, she's on time.
Yeah,
That you can't be starting shit. You can't be throwing stones and hiding your hands. You just can't do it. It never works. But yeah, the cinematography, the music, the dancing, the Chicago-ness, the blackness of the summer.
I'm screaming.
This is not Chicago.
We don't own the summer. I understand. I very much relate to the visuals. Honestly, this movie, I would say, is really, when we were coming up with the color design for this podcast, I think unknowingly, this movie was a lot of what I referenced of the color scheme. I know I kept saying it and couldn't really like articulate it, but I think this movie encapsulates the color scheme that I was talking about, of like the oranges, the greens, the pinks, the different colors. Like it just shows that things can be cultural that are non-tangible. Like it just shows that like Black people have a lot of culture, and there's a lot of things we can go through in our culture. And I really like and appreciate how he did it.
Yeah. And you know, go ahead,
Bobby.
Okay, real quick. You said something. You were like, the characters are realistic. That's probably why I hated all of them. Because it's just like, these are people that actually irritate me in real life that I don't associate with for a reason.
Facts.
But anyway, that's all.
So I loved a lot about this movie. The first thing with Samuel L. Jackson's character, there was a scene where he was just shouting out all these different like Black artists. I loved that scene. I thought that was so well done. Especially since, you know, a lot of people will say like, oh, you know, Black people, we don't get our flowers while we're still alive. And I think that was a great way of doing it while most of those people were still alive. And so I love that scene. I love the comedic relief that Martin Lawrence had in this. He wasn't in this a lot. Like he was, you know, he bounced in back and forth. But there was one quote that was so out of pocket to me that I absolutely loved. And it was this guy that was saying like, it's so hot out here. Why don't you fan me with them big old ears of yours? And I was like, everybody always talk about this man's ears.
Literally like
Every
from day
time.
one.
From day one, he could not catch a break. And I thought it was hilarious.
That is funny.
What else? Wait, hold on.
Ooh, wait a second. While you think about that, I'm just looking at the cast and I'm noticing that Sal and one of the police officers have the same last name.
Oh yeah, I noticed that in the opening
yeah.
credits.
Is that his son?
I don't know.
What?
Maybe is it his son or like a brother?
I don't know.
I'm looking right now. Hold on.
Because I think Sal, no, it's his son.
Oh, well, that's nice.
They're all in the family.
Come on, Nepo
Not
baby.
really. Is it? I mean, I feel like they could have had a better bonding experience.
Oh, Rick? Is it Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah, just see that on Google now. Damn, he died.
He
Rick?
did.
Yes, he died 2 years after his dad did. Oh my God.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Because Danny died in 2019 and now
Sally
his
died.
son died in 2021.
Oh.
Oh,
his son was
tragic.
young.
Yeah, very young. I wonder how he died. He died at age 65. Oh shit. Pancreatic cancer. Oh, that's sad.
Oh.
Yeah. I
R.I.P.,
mean,
man.
hey, I love people bringing we love a Nepo baby. Okay. I love that he had his real sister in the movie with him. You could see the banter and the natural banter that the two of them had. So I love it. I love it.
Collectively as a society, we do talk a lot of shit about Nepo babies, which I understand. But I will say, some of them I'm here for. Blue Ivy, you know, Will and Jaden, Willow and Jaden Smith, you know, Bella and Gigi Hadid, you know.
I have a theory. I think people just don't like the concept of Nepo babies because it's usually the non-melanated people that benefit from it. I'm actually very pro Nepo baby. I just feel like more races need to be able to participate, meaning more races need to get into the industries, stay in the industries, and put their children in the industries.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing wrong. I mean, obviously, systematically, we know like what's wrong with the idea of nepotism, but I think, hey, I think it's just because because they control what it looks like. They're the only ones that's in there for real. But like you said, Jaden, Willow, all of them, why not?
Why not? Because honestly, truly, like the whole point of being a parent and like continuing on with society is to give your kids all the opportunities in the world possible. And if my kid wants to be an actor just like me, then shit, you're gonna be on set with me then. Okay, you're gonna be learning the ropes. I would do the same thing. I would.
Yeah. I would leave it up to my child to decide if they want to be a Nepo baby. I have no idea if David John Washington is a Nepo baby in terms of how he came up, but I would be riding my father's coattail if his name was Denzel Washington.
Come on, Denzel
Washington. Now I do know that when you like have parents that are maybe like more achieved, you want to do it for yourself and you want to do that, but like that's just because society told you needed to.
Yeah, didn't like Nicolas Cage change his last name or something?
Change his whole last name. He a Coppola. Y'all deep in there. Y'all ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
and we still know. Like we know, you changed your name.
I did find that out like 2 years ago, though.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I recently found out.
That's my millennialness. I had no reason to think Cage was not his last name. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought Will Smith's name was Will Smith. It's not. It's Willard. So people be lying and you don't know.
That
it's-
bothered me. It should be William.
Well,
It was an option. It was a choice.
The choice. Yeah.
yeah. So I think what's the last one I was gonna say? Oh yes, my last highlight was
Oh, just
Spike Lee's Wake Up. I love that he always finds a way to just, slide it in there. I think he did one in the beginning, the very beginning. Oh no, because because he was telling Jade to wake up. And then there was one at the very end, which I cannot remember, but somebody said wake up.
it was
It was
Ruby, not Ruby D, Rosie.
It was
The radio guy?
Samuel
radio
Jackson said it. He was
Yeah.
the first one at the very beginning.
he said it at the end though. When they were in the bed together, it was like the radio went on and he was saying, wake up, wake up. That's why Rosie Perez was so mad because he was getting up to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't you dare. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that, girl. I do. I understand.
Yeah, so I like that. So closing out, my question, also with your rating, what do you think Do the Right Thing meant in this movie? And what is your rating of the movie?
Oh, come on, questions. Well, I didn't know this was happening. Let me think a little bit.
So I'll go first then. I think what I said before is kind of what I believe he was saying. I think doing the right thing is sometimes the best thing, and doing the right thing first is sometimes the best thing. I feel like, a lot of things that happen that calls for apologies and stuff, just like if you're in a relationship, doing the right thing in a relationship is just leaving before cheating. Like I feel like there was a lot of things that could have been avoided in this movie. And I feel like if he had just put the pictures on the wall, none of this would have happened. He still would have been cussing people out and people still would have been cussing him out, but none of this would have happened. It just would have been fine. I think doing the right thing is like so taboo, especially when you so caught up in what you're doing. They were all so caught up in their own, prejudices and mindsets that like when someone tried to tell people to do the right thing, like the mayor, everyone was like, no, get out of the way. Shut up. You're an old man. You're a drunk. We're going to throw you into stuff. Like, I feel like when people try to tell people to do the right thing, they don't want to. And then it goes really bad. But also I understand why they still did it anyway. But that's what I think. And then my rating, I think it deserves a nice 4 out of 5.
Period. Bobby?
Okay. Well, I think, we're all flawed. We all make mistakes. And everything always makes sense in hindsight. Like, it's like, oh, well, maybe when Radio Raheem first came in, instead of yelling at him to turn off the radio, maybe I should have asked nicely, please, can you turn it down? Granted, he still might not have, but there's the rapport that's built up. So like in hindsight, yeah, that makes sense. And I think in hindsight, it's always easier to say to do the right thing. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, your emotions take over and shit spirals out of control.
I also think an example of doing the right thing is Mookie himself, right? He was playing and titting and tatting with the devil, as you would say, working there, knowing it's racist. And when the dude died, he finally was fed up and was like, I'm gonna throw a trash can through the window because fuck y'all racist and I'm tired. And then he threw that trash can in the window and walked away. And that was his only contribution to it, was starting
He started it.
Yep.
So I feel that's kind of what it, like, at least for that character, morally do the right thing. And morally, he knew that even though he was trying to make money and do all that, that Al was wrong and he shouldn't have been working for him in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's like living your truth in the moment. Like even though Sal damaging or destroying the radio was technically wrong, for him it was right because he had had enough and he was fed the fuck up. Mookie throwing the trash can through the window, technically he probably shouldn't have done that shit, but in the moment it was the right thing to do for him. So I think just following your gut, that's all.
Period.
Oh,
And your rating?
my rating. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. 5 hot combs out of 5.
Period.
And I don't do this often.
You
I don't do it often,
You
but
don't.
I really enjoyed this movie. I did. It's a, dare I say, no, I'm not gonna say.
Well, now
I
you
was
got-
gonna say, dare I say it's a perfect movie, but then I remembered the potential age thing with Sal and Jade, and I just had to retract that statement, but it was very good.
Mhm. So for me, I think that each of the individual characters throughout this movie were supposed to figure out how to do the right thing. There was like one part where I think it was the mayor and Mookie, and he just like put him to the side and he said, "Do the right thing." And he was like, "Is that it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he walked away.
I got it.
Okay,
I'm out.
He's like, "Okay, cool." And I think the mayor was supposed to be kind of like not the voice of reason, but kind of like in everyone's ear, like, do the right thing. And I think he kind of had like his awakening, so to speak, when he saved that little boy and he realized like I want to do better. I think Mookie had his maybe a little too late, but his do the right thing moment at the end of the movie, like you were saying, Brie. I think like this movie was supposed to be like everyone's journey of figuring out what they were supposed to do the right thing, and some people didn't do it and ended up getting choked out. Some people didn't do it and ended up getting their business on fire.
Screaming.
So I think that everyone was supposed to figure something out. Either they did or they didn't. And that's kind of, even like the end of it, it was going with violence and nonviolence. And I don't necessarily know, like we were saying before, what Smiley's character, what he was supposed to be doing with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. But I think that was also kind of one of the main points was like violence or nonviolence. You have to figure out what you're going to do. There's going to be consequences either way. So, yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because the quotes at the end, that was perfect cherry on top.
It was great. It was great. And I give this movie 4.5. I enjoyed it. I didn't really have a lot of lowlights, but I thought it was a very good movie. I don't know if I would watch it again. I think it was a good, like, I have seen it and it's great, and that's kind of it. But yeah.
I think I might watch
Okay,
it.
period.
I like
You would watch it again?
I'll watch it again. Yeah. I feel like maybe I'd be like on Twitter in the middle, but
Okay.
maybe not Elon.
Oh,
Elon.
Yeah, maybe I won't
I'm
be
sick.
on Twitter. Maybe I'll be on Instagram.
This motherfucker.
But-
I re-downloaded Tumblr. I did.
Oh, the dark
I
days.
did.
We are entering the dark days.
Oh no.
We're regressing.
We're regressing.
We're regressing. Oh, I did want to say, I just wanted to like mention it very quickly. I thought the dynamic between the Asian people and the Black people were very interesting. I
Yes.
thought it was very interesting that he said he was Black at the end, and I was like, don't try to be Black now.
That- There's a lot to unpack in that
There
statement.
is, and I'm not gonna go, very far into what's happening right now, but the fact that it was non-melanated people and people of a certain continent and areas boycotting affirmative action because they did not like that Black and brown people were being added to colleges so that the diversity would not be disproportionate and racist. I just, it just really reflected on the current relationship that certain marginalized groups are having with Black people, of deciding sometimes they like us and then other times they don't. I thought it was so interesting because I don't ever know what's going on. So I found out the day of that this was even happening. And I was like, you are diversity. Like, why would you not add your own race and ethnicity to the diversity sheet? Like, that is the point. And it's always interesting how far people go to separate themselves from Black people. It's just very interesting in that the separation from Black people is equivalent to being white. I just think it's very interesting.
I agree. All right, anything else we want to add? Nope.
No,
Okay,
I've said everything.
Thank you for listening. This has been yet another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. Again, my name is Danielle.
My name is Brianna.
And my name is Bobby.
And if you haven't already done so, please follow and subscribe to us both on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Throw us a like, share the episode, leave a comment.
Twitter as well.
Oh, yes, Twitter. Have you seen Do the Right Thing? What do you think Do the Right Thing means to you? Let us know. Did you see it when it first came out? If so, tell us how you liked it. And let us know any movie or TV recommendations that you would like us to review. And, as you know, them streetlights, I think they've been on at this point. So we got to go because we're late. But we'll see you next time, same place. Bye, everyone.
Bye.